Travel Ins podcast. I'm lucky to have Megan Leah today. How are you, Megan?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Megan is a singer getting out there trying to make it happen, and it's exciting for me to talk to somebody that's just getting started versus someone that's been doing for 20 or 30 years. So it'll be interesting to get your perspective on the music industry.
Yeah, for sure.
So how long have you been singing, and kind of give us your background real quick if you can.
So I grew up singing in church. My mom sings, so obviously I took after her in that aspect. But yeah, I grew up singing in church, and throughout high school, I did like musical theater. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I started dabbling in like pop music and just kind of took off. So, but yeah, I've been singing since I was a little girl. So just interesting. You never know where life's going to lead you, you know?
Exactly. Well, and singing can kind of take you in many different directions.
No, totally.
So
Totally.
as far as where you end up, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
So you're a pop singer. Is that what you
Yeah,
consider yourself?
yes.
It,
I would definitely, yeah, consider myself pop and then slowly like moving into the R&B world too. So that's been
okay.
fun. Something new.
What's the difference between pop and R and B?
R&B is like more soul and then pop is like today's popular music.
No, okay.
So yeah, yeah. So that's just
But
like the
to me, they kind of blend. It seems like
they do
it seems like R and B kind of has really blended into pop music.
totally. Yeah, it's and that's why I always say like pop R&B now too because yeah, it's kind of everything's kind of blended. It's not like its own subsection. I mean, it still is, but yeah, they're definitely joined a lot of times, just kind of like pop country, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of Taylor Swift kind of made that big transition because
Yeah,
she
yeah,
started off as country and just and Carrie Underwood and some of the others.
yeah. It's so funny because like with country music, you used to think of like Jack Johnson and Brad Paisley and all those kind of people, and then now you listen to like country and it's more like Florida Georgia Line, and then you have like a rapper singing
Yeah,
like country pop, and so I feel the same way with like pop R&B. It's like they're blended, but they're still technically separate. But you know, everybody considers it as so. So
exactly. What
mhm.
what do you like about being the singer? Have you always? I mean, I know you've been singing a long time, so you just like being out in front of people. Is that kind of
I do. I feel like a lot of my personality, like I thrive off connection and connecting with people. And I think through art and just music in general, like you can be super vulnerable and it's a way to connect with people instead of like having like a one-on-one like conversation with people. You're like connecting with like a mass group of people, which is cool. um
absolutely?
I love being on stage. I don't know, I have since I was a child. Like I just love performing. I love being up there. I love the lights, the music, the just like engaging with a crowd. It's just so fun to like be able to entertain people, you know, and see people.
Has it been tough for you for the last 18 months with the lockdown, not being able?
Yeah, I would say it definitely was tough. It was really sad because right before the lockdown, I actually started picking up and had some pretty cool opportunities start presenting themselves.
Yeah,
And it kind of fell apart when COVID happened because nobody knew what the future was going to look like. You know, there's no live music. So a lot of my time was spent in my bedroom singing into a microphone, pretending whatever was to come, you know, when things did happen. But it allowed me to get into the studio a lot more, which I didn't really have time for beforehand. So, like, come up with some new music and figure out like a new direction. And it actually ended up being the biggest blessing being locked down. So, yeah, it was cool.
that's kind of interesting that a lot of the business people and pretty much not athletes were different, but musicians and a lot of business people have used the lockdown as how to better themselves. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
athletes were on a very strict schedule, so like
Yeah.
and some of my musician friends, I had one guy. He's on the road 280 days a year for
Oh, wow.
30 years. So
Yeah.
first time in his entire adult life that he wasn't on the road for a year.
Take, yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's a little forced break, wasn't
yeah.
you know, I noticed that you used to sing with an '80s band.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to sing. I actually sang with a couple 80s bands. When I first moved out here, I from New Jersey, because I did a lot of stuff in New York and Philly and a lot of casino work and all that kind of stuff. And so when I moved out here, I was like, well, I don't know anybody. And from what I hear, the music scene isn't as popular as it is back east, or like if you're in California. So I was trying to figure out my way to kind of get my foot in the door just to at least start performing again.
Yeah.
And so I went on Craigslist and I was, this could be really sketchy or this could be really good. And I prayed. I was like, okay, God, like, let's, find something cool. And then I saw this thing for like an 80s band. And then I, looked at their set list of like the songs they were auditioning. And I'm like, I know 2 out of the 10. Can you help me learn these? Can you help me learn these songs? And so I auditioned, and it was then and there. They had a bunch of other auditions, but they were like, you're young, but we think you have a great voice, and we think you could really draw attention to our band. And so I was with them for a year and a half. We would travel and play shows like all over Phoenix. We would play out in LA. Um, quite often at some of their like 80s bars, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know I loved 80s music, and I'm like, wow, a lot of today's pop music is, stems from a lot of 80s stuff. So it was kind of get a little background in that. And then yeah, I stepped away when I was ready to start. It was cool, fun being part of a band, but like I said, I wanted to be a solo performer, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to do 80s music forever. So it was definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah,
What were your favorite 80s songs to sing?
Voices Carry by Till
Uh,
Tuesday, and then Blondie Anything. I love singing A Heart of Glass, so that was always a good one too. Yeah.
did you ever have to sing "Take Your Breath Away" by Berlin?
No, no. We did Metro by the
Oh yeah.
Metro. It was an interesting song to sing too, but I liked it.
Yeah, that's crazy though, because I saw that, I'm like, really? I wonder, what were you? Were there any songs you didn't like to sing?
I had backup parts in Rock the Casbah. Do you know what I'm talking?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
The
it's like,
Clash. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Or oh man, Bizarre Love Triangle,
New
because I
Order. Yeah.
but yeah, I love New Order, but just singing some of those background parts are just like weird. And if you're not singing the main parts, it's just kind of like you're just like standing there, waiting for your little subsection to come in. And I didn't really love that, but yeah.
The heart of a lead singer comes out.
Yeah, like I like trying not to be jealous of my friend, the male lead singer, but there was a lot more male songs than there were female songs. So like whenever
Yeah.
I songs, I was just like rocking out, like this is my chance.
I just watched the. I don't know if you the Go Go's. They did a
Oh
documentary,
yeah.
and that was a crazy story. I didn't even know. I mean, they're a little bit older than me, but wow,
Yeah,
that's
I'll
pretty.
have to. I've not heard of that. I know who the Go-Go's are because I used to sing some of their stuff, but
Well,
interesting.
it was just interesting to see. They literally started out off as a LA punk band.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
None of them knew how to play instruments. None of them. And they just got him and went up and started and literally just finding a chord and just playing the chord over and
Oh
over.
my gosh, that's actually hilarious. Yeah, I had no idea.
Uh,
They sound thing, whatever, however they developed into their style. It's great.
yeah. So, what what do you see, or what are you hopeful as far as the future of pop music for you as a solo artist?
I would say at this point, I'm pretty open to anything that's gonna bring me on back onto the stage. I've heard from some people stay independent. I've heard from some people signed to a label. I've been in contact with like a couple, two different labels at this point, and you know, it's just really interesting because I've not dabbled into that world yet.
Yeah.
My goal is just to live comfortably off of doing what I love, and so whatever that means for the future. I just want to be on stage. I want to be touring, and that's my main goal. And however the puzzle pieces have to fall to make that happen, I'm willing to go and do.
Yeah.
as- so
I was curious because I just had somebody on, it'll probably be the week before you, Derek Jackson, and he worked for Def Jam Records back in the '80s. Like his first artist was LL Cool J.
oh
So
my god, me,
yeah,
I love
but just how we talked about how the industry has changed. It
it's
used
so much. Yeah, the reason I say, it used to be like a dream of mine to get signed to a label,
yeah,
and that's like the dream, sign a record deal. But it's with the way like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram is nowadays, like a lot of labels and all they care about numbers. And with the way like the algorithms are on social media, it's a little bit more difficult to build than it was if you weren't doing that like maybe 5 years ago, trying to build those platforms. Nobody knew it was going to blow up to the way that it is now. So
Yeah.
you can actually be more profitable in some aspects if you are an independent artist. But um, yeah, it's really interesting. The world's just like so digital now. It's everything. The industry's just changed completely.
Yeah,
So
just as far as its streams and
streams and followers, and it's all numbers. So
well,
you
it's always
know,
been numbers. I mean, I mean,
yeah,
my life, it's all numbers. Like as far as my day job, but it's just interesting because the numbers used to be touring numbers and record sales.
yes. Now
And
it's all digital via social media.
yeah, now it's how many streams do you have on Spotify
Yep.
and how many followers do you have on TikTok and Twitter and
Yeah.
that they look at that as a matrix of why should we sign you, which is
Yes.
interesting because that was what they used to do. Their job, what used to be to promote their artist.
Yes. So now with the digital platforms, whether it be streaming or, social platforms, basically you can self market yourself.
Hmm.
They don't have to pay. You're basically doing your own advertisement for them. And so that's why I said sometimes you can be more successful being an independent artist because you don't need the support of a label to create those numbers for yourself.
Right.
So that's why I said I'm open to either or. I just know what my main goal is, and whatever way the wind will take there, I'm willing to follow. So
That's
I
pretty
would.
cool. So you had mentioned before we came on that your music's kind of taken a new direction. Curious, that's more into the R&B side of it.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's definitely like become like more mature. I feel like I was doing a lot of pop music that was catered to, I would want to say like maybe high school heartbreak and like early college age, and now I feel like I'm catering to a more mature audience with my style of music and the direction I'm going. I would say people in their 20s to like people in their 40s, 50s. So yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think About You wasn't too poppy. I mean, I don't know.
No, some of them were pretty good. The styles definitely changed, but yes, more in the R&B direction,
Okay.
uh, I would say, than just straight pop.
Now, since you did a little bit of traveling with the band,
Yes.
you know, is there going to be a big change being a solo artist versus?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, at some point I'll have a bus full of people again, but yeah, we used to take
Well,
like
yeah,
a small, or not a small, like a large GMC and like have all the stuff loaded in it, or we would like rent a small van or whatever, and it would be like five of us, two of the guys' wives, a girlfriend, and then me in the backseat crammed, with all the equipment. And it used to be fun traveling out to, Cali. It would be 6 hour drive. Everybody's
yeah,
like jam. After a show, we would go out, get dinner, grab drinks. And I think just like the whole community of it. But as a solo artist now too, like I find myself like doing when I did do my couple of shows out here after the quarantine, I ended up it's just me and my guitarist, and then we'll
yeah.
meet like drummer and the bassist when we get to the venue, and I'm in control of everything now. And there's no band leader. I used to like
You're it.
I'm it, and I'm like, do we have the XLR cables? Do we have this? Do we have that? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm figuring it out as we go. Booking my own shows, selling tickets. Definitely something I've never done before, but now I'm getting into the swing of things. It's become much easier. So
Yeah, well, that's just like anything.
yeah, anything.
It's it it. I find that if you want something bad enough, you'll learn how to do it.
Exactly. It's all trial and error. And then when you make an error, you just do the opposite and you're usually good,
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully, you don't make the same mistake over and over again.
If it doesn't, well,
Well,
unfortunate.
well, and as a singer, that's I mean, you've got a couple of videos out, you've got music out, and you're singing, but you're also hustling. I mean, you were telling me how often are you coming out to California now?
Uh, it used to be like 4 times a month a couple months back, and now I'm out pretty much like twice a month. maybe once, twice a month, something like that for a couple days. But yeah, definitely out here hustling. So
Yeah. I
a
mean that.
lot.
So I have two daughters. They're 26 and 27, and they
Yeah,
hustle. But it's interesting because I think millennials get slacked a lot. For
totally.
and if a millennial or anybody is incentivized to do better, then they make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there needs to be more stories of people like you that are of millennials that are hustling and making things happen and working weekends and driving. And I mean, that's coming to LA. Are you driving or are you flying?
It depends on how long the stay is. If it's a quick turnaround time, I'll usually just fly because if you go in, on a Sunday and have to come home Monday for
Yeah.
work Tuesday, like probably should fly so that way I'm not dead tired for my other job, during the week.
Yeah. That's always that's a great thing for millennials to see. So
Yeah, totally.
I just being around that, I think, you know, what made you be that desirable or want to make things happen that much?
Uh,
Parents, friends.
yeah, I grew up with a pretty rough childhood background, and I think had a mom who was like super driven and super hardworking, like single mom with two kids, and she's like working three jobs, going to nursing school full time to provide for me and my sister. And I saw, you know, my other parent, just kind of when you make bad decisions in life, how that can really just, lead you down the wrong path. And I seen my mom work so hard for everything that she wanted. And I just think it instilled this work ethic in me. And being from the East Coast too, like it's never slow. There's no slow.
Yeah.
I always feel weird when I have a day off because I'm go, 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 go. But I have a desire to be more than what I ever thought I could be. And I definitely know I can get there. So it's like, you can say you want to do this, you can say you want to do that, but if you're not taking the steps and putting the action behind the thought, then you're never going to get there. I always say
Right.
success is inevitable. If you're determined and you keep working at something, eventually something's bound to hit, you know? So
That's typically how it works.
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, you shoot a basketball all day, you're eventually gonna, get it in the hoop at some point.
Have you ever read the book The Outliers?
No, I haven't.
You should that'd be a good book for you, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's basically if you've ever heard the term, you have to do something 10,000 times to get good at it. It's from
Yeah.
that book. And
Okay.
so the guy was a scientist, Malcolm Gladwell, and he actually interviewed all the successful people to find out what made them successful,
Yeah.
what made them the outliers of their groups.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just surrounding yourself with good people and relentless doing it over and over and over and over again.
You just don't stop.
Yeah, that was basically what he found out why people were successful, whether it's being athletes or musicians or whatever.
Mhm.
So it was it's kind of a cool book.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to read that. I love reading. So
Yeah, it's a good one to read. Especially, I wish I could read that book at your age
yeah.
versus
Yeah. I didn't really get into reading until, I mean, obviously like throughout school and all, but I just started picking books back up like a little over a year ago and
yeah,
just fell reading and developing your mind. I think that has a lot to do with the mindset too of just wanting to grow and the desire to be, whatever you desire to be in general. So it's
sure.
exciting.
What what is your? Do you have a unicorn place you'd want to play at? Like out of all the venues, like country artists want to play at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
You know, some
I,
some some say Madison Square Garden.
yeah. Okay. Well, you just took the words right out of my mouth.
Ah,
Yeah. Our garden. It's a dream. I mean, I've watched, all the Christmas shows there and, being from the East Coast, it's like New
yeah.
York, just something else. And Madison Square Garden is like, you've made it if you're singing at Madison Square Garden.
Kind of how that works, right?
Yeah. So definitely a dream, but yeah, it would be awesome. So
What do you do after that?
as far as,
Well, I mean, you let's say in 3 years, 3 to 5 years, you play Madison Square Garden.
well, then it's off to the world tour after that, I guess.
Yeah, it's like what's next?
Yeah. Well, that's so funny. I've not really given too much thought into that. Like, where do I go next? I'm just, you know,
Well, because some people they want a Grammy,
yeah,
and
uh,
but then is it just the Grammy? Because once you get the Grammy, what's after that? You know?
yeah. There's always something more to be desired after you reach the goal. Like your goal in your mind is the present goal, and I think once you get there, it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
never really be satisfied because you're always going to be wanting to reach new heights. So I think that's super cool. Yeah, I haven't given much thought into that. I'm like, yeah, I would love to play a huge venue like Madison Square Garden. I'm like, okay, then what's after that?
Well, yeah. Just asking. Yeah. Curious, who would you like to duet with?
Oh man, everybody always asks me that. Probably
Are you
Ariana
really? Okay.
or Beyonce. I think Beyonce's amazing. She's so cool. If you've ever like
Yeah.
seen her live, she's probably one of the best live performers, and just the energy that she brings on stage. Like, I would love to be up there, dancing with her and, feeling that energy of a legend, that would be a dream come true.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
When you're traveling, we talked real quick, but what are the thought process behind having a backing band with you versus just singing to a track? As far as traveling, I mean, it's got to be easier for you just to show up with a track and maybe a guitarist and go, let's go.
yeah, it can definitely get expensive when you have to fly everybody out, especially if like the venue's paying you X amount, but it has to be worth it for your players and then,
Yeah.
travel, hotel cost. Um, it definitely, I would say it's easier to travel with either my guitarist who plays with me often, just the two of us, and then have, a supporting backing track. Or if he can't be there yet, it's definitely easier just to accompany like myself with a track.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot easier, especially flying. Driving, it's definitely a little bit easier to bring a whole band with you, but flying, yeah,
It's expensive.
yeah, it's expensive.
I mean, that's got to be a part of it, right? I mean, it's still a business. Like,
Yeah, it's business.
you
And
know,
until you're established at a certain point, the expense is usually more than the return,
yeah.
until women. I even say that with like my studio time and all. I'm still waiting to have it start to like break even a little bit.
Is,
So
is that is that based on the amount of streams that you're at right now?
streams, yeah, yeah,
I mean, because
definitely.
you're not with the label, so that's why I'm asking, because I don't
Mm,
know anything about that.
yeah, definitely your streams, like especially Spotify is like the number one platform, I would say, aside from like Apple Music, but Spotify is really where it's at, where you can really like get into the nitty-gritty with the numbers. But yeah, usually the more you're streamed, the more income comes in, because it's not like back in the old day where people are like buying your single for 99 cents or a
Yeah.
dollar album. People are paying $10 a month and they get unlimited, streams. So it's like you really have to be hitting a decent
Numbers.
amount to be profitable. So still
Yeah.
trying to build that way.
That's tough. I mean, that's I asked some of my friends because you used to sell, like you said, it would be an album sale, and
Yeah.
and then you would have individual. I remember having, you'd buy the 12-inch record
Yeah.
single, and that was a big deal. And now it's not that way.
No, not at all. And I think there's advantages to both,
Sure.
but yeah, and the crazy part too is with the way that, the media is like, and you can go on YouTube and learn how to, create a song on GarageBand. Like so many people are able to put out, like anybody could put out music. I mean, it could be you playing the triangle, into a microphone, and like you could put it out on Spotify. And so just with so many artists, up and coming artists, like trying to do the same thing, it's definitely been a battle.
Well, I mean, and you're right, because
Mhm.
my daughter and I did the my soundtrack, or my intro song
Yeah.
on GarageBand, and because I just told her what I wanted, and she's really good, and she writes her own music and all that. But I'm like, I want to hear like this, and then I had a past guest add a guitar track on it.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, but I mean, you're right. It's like anybody can do it, just out of their house, and
Yep.
but I think and I think it'll always be this way. That, the cream rises to the top type thing.
Yeah,
you know.
I took.
So,
Yeah.
how much? I'll finish it up with this. How how much traveling are you hopeful to do? Like, let's say in 2022 for singing. What are
So I think at that point, I would like the transition from my current job to be full-time music, and I would like to be on the road constantly.
okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
you have a new album coming out to support that, right?
Yes, yeah. I have a new album coming out. I actually did things a little bit differently. I released 3 of the singles that are gonna be featured on the album these past, couple months just to give people a taste of, so I've been working with a new producer to
Good.
give them the new direction I'm going with my music because the sound is completely different. Like, I'm working with somebody new now, so he was like, "We need to reinvent, your style, your sound, your look." So that's what we're doing, and so 3 of those singles were, like, kinda like a little teaser to, begin this journey into, like, this new evolution of where I'm going with my music, and so the album will have those 3 songs and then 7 others that people
So
aren't expecting.
that's going to include what? Bel Air. What
Bel Air, Freak Show,
Freak
there's a
Show?
couple.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited.
So I appreciate the time. What's the best way for my listeners to find out what you have coming up and what you have going on? How do you want people to
I would definitely say Instagram is where I do most of my updating for music, shows, studio time, all that fun stuff, or my website. So,
Is it what is your Instagram tag?
oh, it's Megan Leah Music
Okay.
XO. And then my website's www.meganleah.com.
Perfect. I'll make sure I include that. What about and you have your own Spotify channel and you have, I'm sure.
Yes, I have a Spotify channel. There's, however, another girl named Megan Leah with the exact same spelling. So oftentimes people have been getting confused with the two of us. So I always say, you'll know me if you look at my Instagram pictures, you'll be able to decipher who's who. We actually look pretty similar, funny enough, but she's in Germany.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
At least she's not like, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I'm in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
That would be bad.
it would be bad.
Well, I'll make sure to on my website, I'll make sure to put all the links in there so they can just
Awesome.
check it out and see
Yeah,
what you
that would
got
be
coming up.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time today, too. It was a
No.
pleasure.
It's great. And I look forward to listening to more of your music. And if you ever, if you perform out in LA, let me know. And then I'll try and get some people to come by.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, it's definitely going to happen within, I would say, the next hopefully 6 to 8 months.
Can I ask you a real quick question? Because I don't know the
Yeah,
answer to this.
of course.
So, how much of it is, there's managers, there's booking agents, there's talent agents, there's PR people. You know, if you wanted to play at a venue, how do you go reach out to them at this point, or do you have a booking agent that does that, or how does that
At
work?
this point, I am completely self-sufficient aside from my friend Kathy, who,
Yeah.
helps publicist stuff. But at this point, it's all me. I do
Okay.
everything, all the venues and all. That's why I said it's trial and error here.
But my question is like, what would prevent you from reaching out to the Troubadour or the Mint or some of maybe a little bit bigger place? I mean, I don't know. Why not?
I would say at this point, with the way that the new direction I'm going with my music, I'm still trying to figure out how we would play it live.
Okay.
So once I kind of get that correlated and all, figured out, then I'll be able to reach out to some of those venues. Plus, I would say, I guess, I used to play so many 80s venues and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff that I'm not too familiar with out in LA that would be suited for my style music.
Okay.
So definitely need to take a look.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what I was asking is like, how do you know, like, okay, if you're a pop R&B singer, do you look up where other contemporaries are playing? You know what I mean?
On Instagram, I actually follow a couple of, I would say, like popular, up and coming artists that are actually out in LA. And I know a lot of people play at like Hotel Cafe. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of people have played there.
the Mint. I haven't heard of the one that you said, the
The Troubadour. Yeah.
Troubadour. Yeah. But I know the Mint and Hotel Cafe are super popular. So it'd be
Yeah.
fun to just be able to get into one of those.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was asking. It's like, what? I mean, here's what I would tell you. Yeah, I never thought I'd interview half the people that I've gotten on my show,
Yeah.
and the number one reason I've gotten them is because I've asked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot more no's that people will never know about, but people, you reach out and you ask.
Yeah. You just gotta ask and see. Yeah, definitely. Once I'm ready to, like I said, in a couple months, once I'm ready to start like playing out again, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely gonna start trying to expand outside of the Phoenix area.
When is the album due to come out? Do you have a date yet, or?
So as of right now, I'm in a little bit of a holding place due to something else and a surgery that I have to get in November. So I want to say that would like to release the album in November, but it's more likely going to come out in December.
Okay. Yeah. Have you looked in? Is there a better time to release?
Um,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it all just comes down to the marketing. It's like, how well are you going to market this? Because it'll, it's going to blow up if it wants to, regardless of time of the year, at least in my opinion.
Well, because are you doing any new videos for it, for any of the tracks?
Possibly, I would say shorter clips.
Okay.
One of the surprises is it's kind of gonna be, the album is gonna be a story, and there's so many different
Oh, I gotcha.
styles of songs on there that I want to give like some 1 minute, just looks
Teasers.
in
Yeah.
teasers instead of like full on production music videos, because it kind of gives a better illusion to like what each song is about. So I think it'll be fun. I'm trying new stuff here, so I'm excited.
That'd be interesting if you could somehow if you did like 10 tracks, because that would be a 10, if you did 10 1-minute videos, and then you could have a block, a 10-minute block, and put them all together at the end of it.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. We're going to do a little behind the scenes of like what it looks like to create the music. Yeah. I think it's super cool watching people's like documentaries of, what studio time looks like. And I've done small things like that, but I think I've just poured so much time, and emotionally invested into this album. So it's going to be really cool for people to see like really what goes into it and where I was at mentally, like in each song, because everything's just so different. So
I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff with John Bellion.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
he's a New Jersey guy, right?
Yeah.
So
he's awesome.
Yeah, just to see, it was interesting to watch how he, like you said, like it was like you watched him make songs, and like all of a sudden he'd go, "Oh, let's try this," and you're like, "Oh my God, that's in the song." I remember, I know that part.
Yeah, he's so talented. But yeah, I think people forget like a song is 2 minutes and 40 seconds now, something 3 minutes on the tail end. But I think people forget like how much work actually goes. I mean, you're talking 8 hours just into one song, that people listen to for 3 minutes, but you've worked like 2 hours on 10 seconds, and it's like people have no clue. Yeah. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's I think that's always interesting, because that's kind of the outliers, right? Where you don't see the 10,000 tries, you just see the one success.
Yes, yeah. So give people a little glimpse into what it really takes. I think people become more appreciative. The listener becomes more appreciative when there's a visualization to show what's actually been happening in the background as well.
Sure. Well, I would think, and maybe I'm wrong, but you're a pretty girl. I'm sure people are gonna be, oh my gosh, she's got it. She's easy life, she's relying on her looks, and she can sing, but she's had it made. She's had it easy.
Yeah. Definitely think there's definitely a time and place where like I'll be able to share my story with my platform, and I look forward to that day where I'm really able to open up with my listeners beyond the music that they hear in the exterior or see. Yeah. So
I hear a movie coming out someday.
I'd love to do a documentary. That'll be in the works.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Again, thank you. I'll let you enjoy your wonderful national holiday here. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and having me.
Yeah. When you come out to LA, I mean, I'm following you now, so when you come out to LA, and if you ever perform, I'll definitely have to bring the wife and we'll come check you out.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks and have a great day, Megan.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.